Switch up the way that you do video production with the Atem Mini Pro ISO. This is a bread and butter video switcher. So this is actually a broadcasting device. We use it for a lot of our in-studio production. I'm going to review kind of the ins and outs of this thing, why we use it every single day, and some of the cons and some of the other choices that you might want to consider. If you're new here, The Move Miami is Miami's best production studio. We produce literally half of the stuff that you see here on YouTube. Anything from celebrity content to influencer content, we know what we're talking about. My name is Forrest. I am the COO here. I'm also a YouTuber as well. I'm in the day trading and personal finance space. You can check out my channel. It's Trading with Forrest. All the stuff that you see there and here is using any of the flavor of the devices that we have here. For example, right now, this top-down shot is a Sony a7 IV. And Ron, what is that camera? This is a Nikon Z8 for our front camera. We have a ton of Fujis, things like that. So we're going to be bringing you gear reviews all the time. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the Atem Mini Pro ISO. So this is a professional switcher device. The Mini is really made for people who are doing smaller scale productions. Maybe you're not doing full-on live streaming and stuff like that, though it does support and enable those capabilities. I kind of want to just review the I/O on this and then some of the use cases. So on the back, we have 2 mic inputs, 4 HDMI inputs, and 1 HDMI out. So let's talk about the capabilities there. When you're actually recording on this, because it doesn't have an XLR input, there is a slight degradation in quality. We use this really for backup recording. We tend to plug in our Rodecaster into this, right? So we have an audio mixer, mixing device in front of this, and then we plug that into this. The newer Blackmagic Atem that just came out actually has XLR inputs, and it's easier to kind of control that. Also, the default input type on this is something that you have to mess around with because you will get a lot of feedback. We're not going to necessarily dive into the Atem software control in this, but there is a companion app on the desktop that you can use. So you're able to record audio or have audio fed into this device. And then for the HDMI inputs, you have 4 1080p HDMI inputs. So while the cameras are able to do 4K output, it is downscaled to 1080p inputs. So what that means is if you're using this for a backup recording or even just doing the output here, so you switch between any one of these 4 inputs. The inputs could be a camera, a camera, a camera, and a computer. The output is going to be downscaled to 1080p. That's something to keep in mind. Ultimately, what we do is we'll actually just record to separate storage, and then we use this for backups. So the image coming out of here is still good. A lot of people upload in 1080p anyways. Because we're a production company, we always want to give our clients 4K footage. So this is really just for monitoring. Again, you can use it for recording and deliver that. A lot of our competitors will just deliver 1080p. We always deliver 4K. So that's something to keep in mind. The USB out. So this allows you to record directly to something like a T7, like a flash storage, or you can plug this into your computer through here. I recommend plugging in your backup storage here and then using the Ethernet port, which is right here, for your connection. Now, in order to set up the Ethernet port, you're going to have to know a little bit about networking. Not really. You just plug it into your network, and then on a separate computer, you download Atem software control. You can connect to this device, and you can configure it and switch. Essentially, use all the capabilities of this. You can control it from your computer. The last thing here is the power input. On the top of this thing, or really on the front of it, are all of the switching controls, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This switches, just do standard switching between any of the inputs. Cut allows you to cut to whatever the next input in the queue is. There is an auto cut feature as well, and a ton of other capabilities on this. Just out of the gate, if you're someone new, if you're considering this, you're probably a newer or smaller creator. You're someone who's maybe thinking about dabbling with live streaming. So I'm going to talk about how I actually use this. There are a ton of capabilities on here. You can set up macros, things like that. But let's talk about kind of the minimal set of use cases. So what I would do is I might have 2 cameras plugged into this because I'm a YouTuber. So in input 1 and 2, I will have 2 HDMI inputs coming out of my cameras into the Atem Mini Pro ISO. That allows me to, in real time, cut between both views. Why you might want to do this is it's going to save you from having to do those cuts in post, okay? And the reason you can avoid doing that in post is I can hit this record button that's right here, record to my flash storage, and that gives me a real-time cut of a video. We're not doing that right now. Okay, we're actually going to just edit this video from our top down and our front cam. What we could have done though is we could have actually plugged both of these cameras into this device if we wanted to upload in 1080p, and we could do a live switch. I could switch between my top down view and my front view, and I could record those switches into my backup storage. This also supports, and really importantly, ISO recording. What does that mean? That means if I plug in 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs, maybe 3 cameras and a computer, when I hit record on this, it's going to record each of those feeds separately. And what's really cool about that is that then I don't have to go to my individual cameras, take out the internal storage in the cameras. I can just use the output of my Blackmagic Atem Mini Pro ISO for my actual like editing and things like that. It'll be in 1080p, but again, it's all right there. So you'll have the master file with all of your cuts and your switches integrated with the audio if you have your audio input on, and you will have all of the isolated recordings. There are some other things that this is useful for. Again, we use this for monitoring. It's really, really key here. Don't necessarily use it for necessarily broadcasting. We do live productions and things like that, but we use other software like OBS on top of this. We don't directly live stream out of this device. There's software, and there's a ton of different ways, honestly, that you can do broadcasting and live streaming. We use this really for monitoring and switching, okay, and understanding what is happening inside of our production space. So it supports things like picture-in-picture, right, which is really useful. Unfortunately, this small one only has one output. So we actually have the Atem Mini Extreme Pro ISO, which is the bigger one. It has multiple outputs, and so we have our multi-view and our program view side by side. The difference between multi-view and program view, I can control that here on the video out. If I go to multi-view, it's going to let me see all of my cameras. So camera 1, 2, 3, and 4, I can see all of the feeds in real time. Great for the monitoring use case, right? If I go to the program view is going to show me what the actual live output is, right? So if I switch to 2, everything that everybody would see, or maybe that we're the final cut, what we're recording to, is going to be in that program view. Another really big limitation of this is in the Atem software control, you can't set up a super source with the Atem Minis. You have to use the Atem Mini Pro Extremes, okay? The bigger one, the more expensive one. So these are a great way to start, but if you want to set up a super source where you can customize the windows, right, your program view, you'll need to get the more expensive one. Ultimately, I think that this is a great device for live switching. I'm actually considering getting one of these at my desk at home and switching. I'll be honest with you guys though, most modern cameras, especially if you have like A7 IVs and things like that, you can plug directly into your computer. There are other ways to do live switching, okay? If you have a computer and you're sitting at a desk and you're live streaming at your desk, you could just plug all your cameras into your computer and you can switch from each scene, if you have OBS, directly from the cameras. You don't need a device like this. The primary use case for a device like this, in my opinion, is when you have a setup that's a little more grand, right? I might have a camera over here, way over there, way over there. I need the ISO recordings, okay? I need all of the redundancy, and I need something that gives me a little bit more flexibility. Because, for example, this is exactly what we do. We have this in front of OBS, okay? So we'll do all of our switching. The program feed is what we record into OBS, and ultimately, that is what we can deliver. And so we have a ton of different layers of redundancies as well as outputs that allow us to be, super sophisticated and smart for all of our production. But yeah, that's really it. High-level overview of the Atem Mini Pro ISO. We have like 3 of these, so it's definitely a device worth getting. We've since upgraded, but yeah, if you want to grab one of these for yourself, go ahead, use the link down below. We will get a little kickback, so appreciate you for that. Of course, subscribe to our channel, and we're going to keep cranking out useful reviews at every single level, from beginner, entry level, like in this video, all the way to the nitty-gritty stuff for those of you who are a little bit further in your videography, cinematography, and photography careers. That's it. My name's Forrest. See you in the next one. Peace.